Every decision that will require significant time of your life should be justified. And in this video, we're going to talk about career of a web developer. Now, I'm going to be talking about 3 things specifically, and this is a bit of a unique section, unlike all the other ones where we just code along and learn new skills. I want to talk about 3 things in this video. One is, why would you even want to be a developer? And I know you're taking the course, I know you're committed, but I want to talk to you about why it is such a good decision to become a developer and some of the freedom that it allows in your life. The second is we're going to talk about which tools you should learn to be a successful developer. And then finally, the third, we're going to talk about what career options there are out there currently. So let's tackle the first one, why you would want to be a developer. Now, I know a lot of people taking this course aren't necessarily from the States. I'm not either, but I wanted to show you how much in demand a good developer is. Over here, I have some salaries for developers around the States, and you can see that as a front-end developer, you have some really, really nice salaries. A lot higher than most industries. And if you go to Glassdoor, another website that's really, really good to find out what salaries are, and you can do location specific to you. And I have salaries in San Francisco, which I know, they're way too inflated because to live there, it's very expensive. But I do want to show you that there's a real value for developers out there. I've worked in the industry for many years, and finding a job as a developer was, quite frankly, very easy. And I'm not trying to be cocky or overconfident, but it is true. Speak to any developer that knows his or her stuff, and they're able to find jobs quite easily. And most times you're interviewing the employer to see that this is a place that you would want to work because you have so many options. But you probably already know this. You're taking this course for a reason. So let's talk about what you should learn. I have for you a couple of surveys here to show you the industry demand. The first one is from JetBrains, a very, very big software company. And it talks about JavaScript and which frameworks are the most popular. The one we're going to learn in this course is React. And you can see here, it is the most popular. It is probably the most well-respected. And a lot of big companies are using it. It was developed at Facebook. And now it is used by Netflix and a ton of other big companies that do big things technologically. You can also see that what editors and IDEs developers regularly use, and we see that Sublime Text is number 1, and that is what we are using in this course. Let's take a look at Stack Overflow. For those that don't know, Stack Overflow is probably the best website there is for developers. Throughout your career, you'll go on to this website to ask questions and get answers almost daily. And one of the things that they do quite often is a survey and a Stack Overflow trends analysis. And you can see over here that JavaScript is trending quite high all the way into this year and into next year. It is a very in-demand language. It can be used on the web, on mobile, on little devices, pretty much anywhere. If you can code JavaScript, you can code anything electronic at this point in time. So that is why we're learning JavaScript. Let's look at the next one. This one is by GitHub, and you're going to get to know GitHub a lot better in the section that we will have for GitHub and Git. But I wanted to show you their stats on open source projects, and you'll see that JavaScript is in the lead with 2.3 million projects. I love the language. It's a great language to learn as your first one, and it can take you really, really far. Finally, I made this little diagram for us just so you have a big picture of what we're going to learn in this course. We're going to learn basic skills like putting a website online and terminal usage, Git and GitHub, and RESTful web services. We're also going to do front-end work, and some of the videos have already gone through this, but we learn HTML5, CSS3, Now, this is kind of interchangeable, but if you want to be a designer, you are more likely going to focus on CSS, responsive design, and other tools like Photoshop, Sketch, and Illustrator. And this is not the course for it. We are becoming developers. So we're going to learn JavaScript instead. And JavaScript probably has a couple of libraries and frameworks that are really, really popular. And the one used most often in mid-2000 was jQuery. But that is now very outdated, and you'll still see it here and there, but you won't see a lot of the big top websites using it. So we won't be focusing on that. We'll just cover it slightly, but it is not really an employable skill to learn. And then I want to draw your attention to 3 other libraries and frameworks. And what those are tools for developers to build websites and web applications. And in this course, we're going to learn React. And you'll get to understand the technology behind it a lot more. But I chose React because it is currently the most popular way to build web applications, and the developer community around it is very, very big. AngularJS was very popular a few years ago, but it's kind of starting to die down right now. And I personally think there's a bigger future with React. And some people may disagree, but having worked in the industry and seeing people's reaction to different technologies, I really think React's going to go really far, and you'll hear a ton about it. Vue is the up-and-comer that it's fairly new. The community is a lot smaller, so there is not as much information out there as there is for React. But we won't be covering that topic again because we're focusing on the most employable skills. That is JavaScript with React. Finally, let's talk about career options. We're going to talk about the type of work that you'll be able to get as a developer and some of the confusing job titles that are out there. So let's start off with the job titles. You might know what web developer is because, well, you've signed up for this course. That is somebody who works on the web, builds websites, builds web applications. We've also touched on the backend developer, and that is the person that works on the server, works with some databases, and they aren't too concerned with user-facing side of a website or a web app. A full stack developer is somebody that can work both on the front end and back end. And in this course, we're going to learn both front end and back end. So you'll be able to call yourself a full stack developer because you'll understand the full picture of how these web technologies work. We also have mobile developer. And the reason that I use React in this course is that even though it is a course geared towards web development, using 90% of the things you'll learn with React, you'll be able to build an Android app and an iOS app very easily. And then finally, the 2 things at the end here, we have software developer, and that is somebody that is able to build software, not necessarily on the web, not necessarily on mobile. They're able to use a programming language to build software, that is code that can be run anywhere. And then finally, software engineers use computer science to solve complex machine problems. And that is a very, very broad statement, but it is. They're not necessarily good at one coding language. They're good at working with machines. So I just wanted to throw that out there so you know what the differences are when you are looking for jobs out there. Now let's talk about the fun stuff, the type of work you'll be able to do when you become a web developer. And ideally, if you go full force into this course and you really learn the concepts that we cover in this course, the type of work that you can do with this. So the first one is entrepreneurship. And obviously, when you're able to build websites and you're able to build landing pages and applications, well, you could start your own business. If you have that ambition and idea, then entrepreneurship is definitely a good avenue to go. And it is part of the reason that I myself became a developer initially. The second one is startups. If you want to work for young companies that are moving fast and creating some really cool technologies or innovations, well, Startups are always looking for developers. We also have freelance, and that is being able to work on own terms and, using websites like Upwork to look for contract jobs and build quick projects for people around the world as they need fit, and, running a little business for yourself. The next one is working for the big tech companies. So that's Facebook, Google, Amazon. If you're in the States, if you're somewhere else around the world, you have your own big tech companies, and they are always a great place to get hired as a developer because they have massive teams. They're solving really, really big problems, and they need all the developer knowledge that they can get. It is not for everybody, but they are great places to be surrounded by really, really smart people and learn from them. We also have ad agencies. So ad agencies always have contracts where they have a company that is working with them, and they usually need some sort of a website or a promo site built for them. And they have staff developers that help them work on these different projects with different clients. And then finally, I bolded this, and that is remote work. I know a lot of developers that get into development because of this ideal of being able to work remotely. And you know what? That is absolutely true. If that is the type of life that you want, and that is the type of career that you want, working remotely is definitely something that a developer is able to do, because let's be honest, to be a developer, all you need is an internet connection. And you don't necessarily need to be face-to-face with a client, with a coworker, with an employer, because, like I said, everything is on a computer. So that is not for everybody, but it is an option. And it is an attractive option for some. So what was the meaning of this video then? Well, we went over a few things because I wanted you to understand what we are doing in this course. But there's an important point I really want to emphasize. That is to keep in mind that when you start off something like learning development skills, the first 2 months will feel like you're climbing an insurmountable mountain. Every video or course or tutorial or book that you read is going to make you feel like you're the only person in the world that doesn't know this stuff. But I'm here to tell you to stay strong. I went through it. Every single developer has gone through it. You'll get there, and you'll have more and more aha moments as time progresses. And we even have a word for this in the industry. It's called the imposter syndrome, where you feel like you're the only one who doesn't know this information. Rest assured, we all feel this way when we learn something new. What you'll learn is that being a good developer isn't necessarily memorizing a whole bunch of documentation or code. It's about learning how to solve problems using all the tools that are available to you. And I'm going to leave you with that. Being a developer isn't easy. You really do need to know your stuff. So follow along this course and really engage in all the lessons and all the exercises. And if you have questions, ask them, because in-demand developers are problem solvers, not just coders. Can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.